Though it may be temporary, the bloodletting in the silver market has come to a stop, at least for now. I'll explain why and what's going to happen from here as we explore. That's right, silver's prices had fallen fairly dramatically for yet another day. Sort of another bloodbath in the silver market, not as severe as the previous day, but nonetheless, there has been some recovery in the prices right now. But it did get down to as low as $47.48. There's a lot of things that are moving that are kind of healing up in terms of the silver market. We're going to talk about some of that stuff here in a moment. But first, I want to remind you of channel sponsor Summit Metals, a great company with excellent customer service and fast shipping. So check them out and their variety of products over by clicking in the link in the description below. I'm going to be referencing a piece here from FX Street that goes into some detail as to some of the reasons why the silver price has recovered some today and why essentially it has come to a grinding halt. But nonetheless, I think we're going to still see a long, hard road to get back up to $50 an ounce again. I am hopeful that we'll get there by the end of the year, and I think we will. But there's going to be some struggles along the way. But we did see the silver price rebound to almost $49 in late trading before scaling back a little bit after attracting bids with a fresh 2-week low of $47.53. And as I mentioned, it did dip down below that for a while. It has declined, silver has, almost 12% since Friday when investors became confident that the United States and China would reach a trade deal soon, and now that's a little bit up in the air. President Donald Trump has been expressing confidence that Washington and Beijing will reach a fair deal after his meeting with Chinese Xi Jinping later this month in South Korea. But Trump has warned just yesterday that a meeting with Xi might not take place. So that throws everything kind of up in the air again in terms of tariffs and trade deals. So now we're going to have a fair deal, and I think we're going to have a very successful meeting, Trump said on Tuesday, but later added, maybe it won't happen. Things can happen where, for instance, maybe somebody will say, I don't want to meet, it's too nasty. But it's really not nasty, according to Yahoo News. Signs of uncertainty over global trade often increase demand for safe haven assets such as silver and gold as well. Meanwhile, the broader outlook for silver price remains upbeat as the Federal Reserve is almost certain to cut interest rates in its policy meeting next week. Lower interest rates by the Fed bode well for non-yielding assets such as silver. In fact, the Fed Watch tool is showing us a 96.7% chance of a half-point cut. Nobody believes it's going to, of a quarter-point cut rather. Nobody believes it's going to be a half-point cut, with only 3.3% thinking it's going to stay the same. And by the way, if it does stay the same, well, watch out. I think that means that silver's price is going to take a massive dump, but I don't think that's going to happen. Most believe we're going to continue to see the prices, or the Fed's going to cut rates by a quarter point. Ahead of this meeting, investors will focus on the delayed U.S. Consumer Price Index data for September, and that will be released on Friday. So that could tell us whether or not there's going to be a smackdown or not, a further smackdown of price. Because people will probably want to chase profits because the silver's price is still very high compared to what it had been not too long ago, especially if the data come out better, which means that there's less pressure for the Fed to cut rates. And even if they do cut them, it's about where it's going to go for the next meeting. Now, silver price has corrected significantly from its all-time high of $54.50. The near-term trend for silver has become uncertain as it struggles to return above the 20-day exponential moving average, as that slopes higher, which trades around $49.04. Now, the relative strength index is another example, another number that technical analysts use that has fallen below 60, suggesting that the bullish momentum has been ended, at least for now. Silver price could slide further towards the October 2nd low of $45.90 and the September 25th low of $43.78 if it breaks below the intraday low of $47.53. But right now, with trade tensions and potential fear of new tariffs on China, this is something that is going to prohibit it from falling too much further, at least for now. But like I said, even if there is that uncertainty, and uncertainty around the world will continue in terms of geopolitics and Russia and also China, Taiwan, and the like, that is going to mean higher silver prices are staying in this area, although it may start to get boring for a while. But we'll watch things here and see what happens. But I think the other thing, when you're thinking about the healing of the overall supply chain with silver, especially with regards to the COMEX, vaults, and the LBMA, is something that is worth noting. And I think this is why it's going to be a tough road to recapture that $50 silver price again. Let me explain. The London Bullion Market Association, as I reported on this morning's video, which I'll link to at the end screen of this video, are starting to see silver deliveries make their way back into again. In other words, we're seeing 1,000 ounces plus starting to make its way back, 1,000 tons rather, of tons silver making its way back into the London vaults, and that has narrowed the backwardation numbers. In other words, silver's price right now in trading here with a low of $47.48 has recaptured much of that loss. It is now down 22 cents to $48.52 right now, and the futures price is $48.24. So that's about a quarter between the two numbers. That means backwardation is narrowing. Well, backwardation is almost over, folks. In other words, there's not the crisis and the strain in the markets anymore, or as much. They're starting to fade away. Now, the Chinese markets have really kind of been separated, and the Asian markets in general have been separated enough to cause a little bit of concern there. But that has been a growing crisis that has been around for a while. It has had negligible impact overall, but it is still newsworthy, and it's something that is going to still apply pressure as arbitrage opportunities make their way through. And so we're going to continue to monitor that as well, and sooner or later something is probably going to break in that direction as well too. But so far, London really is key, and right now, London is showing some signs of recovery. And so there's not as much concern there. So that means that the silver's price is likely going to subside a bit. And I think it's going to stay in this area for a while as we try to recapture that $50 mark yet again. I think we can do it. I think it'll happen before the end of the year, but I would not expect too many surprises from here on out. Although it could be wrong in all of that. Something can come out of left field. Some sort of number or situation could occur, as we saw heavy volume of paper silver trade yet again, almost as much with yesterday's SmackDown as Friday's, but it caused more damage after yesterday. I think it was 800 million ounces of silver, paper silver, were transferred during that time. So that is another effect that we're looking at in terms of what's happening with the price. But with the Fed Watch tool for the meeting in October, with almost 97% believe a quarter point cut is coming. And then in December's meeting, it is yet showing yet another quarter point cut. And that very well could mean that we see that 96.5% believe it's going to happen there. But nobody is thinking it's going to be, a half point cut at any given point in time, except for 0.2% in December. I don't see that happening, though, but we'll see. Now, the government shutdown is something that's still weighing in, and so far Republicans are getting more traction on this than Democrats. Sooner or later, probably it's going to come to an end. It may be the longest shutdown ever. It is the second largest right now, but so far that's having very little effect, I think, on the markets. But if it does turn out to be the longest serving and there's no deal reached, I think it could have an impact, a greater impact on precious metal prices, and likely those prices are going to go north if that occurs. So we'll see. We're going to cover it all here. This channel likes to bring you the latest news and an analysis in the world of precious metals. And if you enjoy what I do here, I hope you will consider subscribing to the channel. I post daily videos on topics related to silver and gold and other precious metals. And so that's what we're watching right now with the precious metal markets with silver. Now, I think from here on to the end of the year, again, if we could see $50 silver, again, that would be great. To the downside, I don't think we're going to see it fall below $40. I think we're going to stay above that for the rest of the year. And by the way, long term, there's too much working in silver's favor for it to stay in this area and maybe even to recapture comfortably above $50 again, just with the regular supply-demand fundamentals. there's there's a great growing deficit in silver, and that is not going to stop likely even if a recession were to be official and come along our way. There's also too much geopolitical uncertainty that I think will persist. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section down below. Hope you found this video informative, insightful, and educational. Would like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all for taking the time to watch, and encourage you to please rate, share, comment, and subscribe.